16 years ago, or 16 years plus, I got an email from one of my teachers. It was the last thing she ever said to me. Good luck with your future. Continue working the way you have and you will be very successful. And recently, I read that again and it stopped me. It made me think, it made me reflect, because it made me realize something, that the person she thought I'd become isn't the person I actually became. And strangely, I'm grateful for that. So back then, when I was growing up, many years ago, success was simple in my mind. Money, achievement, career, respect. You know, that checklist we all grow up with. The one that our teachers, our parents, society teaches us. But what nobody tells you is that that checklist for success was written by people who've never lived your life, were never in your shoes. And let's face it, at that age, you feel like life moves in a straight line. Success moves in a straight line. Study hard, get a job, maybe start a business, build your life, and you succeed. That was the map. That's what I believed. That's what many of us believe. And that isn't inherently wrong, but it is incomplete. You see, life doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in curves. It has detours, unexpected turns, and sometimes it takes you to places you never thought or imagined you'd ever get to. And for me, and many of you watching, one of those turns, maybe the biggest turn, was when I became a father, especially to an autistic child. A child that sees the world differently. And nobody prepares you for how much that changes you. And I don't mean just routine and how you take care of them, how they see the world, none of those stuff. What I mean is, it does do all of that stuff, don't get me wrong. But it also changes your definition of what success is. When you first become a parent, your goal changes very quickly. You stop asking, what do I want from life? And start asking, what does my child need from me? And that shift is subtle, but is massive. And then when your child develops in ways that you didn't expect, that shift becomes deeper. Because suddenly, success now isn't a destination anymore. It becomes a moment, a look, a gesture, a breakthrough, a tiny step forward. And most people wouldn't even recognize it. But you celebrate every little step. So success for me now isn't loud. It's quiet. It looks like a calm day, a peaceful moment, a small sign of trust, a new skill learnt, a new expression that my child gives. Things that don't and never will show up on resumes. Things that don't get an applause. But they don't need an applause because they matter more than that. Because an applause fades. But these moments, they're etched into your memory. They never fade. Not to you as a parent. So when my teacher wrote that email, she wasn't wrong. She just didn't know what my life would become. I didn't know what my life would become. She didn't know what success would eventually look like for me. In fact, I didn't know what success would eventually look like for me. She thought that she was wishing me success in my career. What she was really wishing me is a meaningful life. And those things are not always the same, but they matter. And if I could send her an email now, which I can't because she's retired and it's not the same email address, but if I could, I wouldn't send her my job title. I wouldn't tell her all the things that I've done in my career, where I've gone to, what I've achieved. None of that. I'd only tell her this. You told me I'd be successful. And you were right. But just not the way either of us imagined. Because success isn't always what the world can measure. Sometimes it's what your heart recognizes. 16 years later, that email didn't remind me of who I was back then, but it reminded me of who I became. A father to the most beautiful, most caring child in the world. Well, I've got two, so children in the world. And honestly, I wouldn't change any of it for anything. And the journey that I went through, the struggles that you all go through now, it built us to get to where we are now. And you probably wouldn't change any of that either. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. I was reflecting on life. I was reflecting on myself, connecting with a lot of people from the past. Came across that email and I felt I had to share it with you guys. So if you did enjoy this video, do subscribe. Do leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I do read all of the comments. I do respond. So please do message me. And thank you for watching. Like always, take care.